G'day everyone, Rune here, and this is chapter 4 of my What If Ash Met Meowth First story. In the last chapter, Misty got to tell off her sisters and inform them of her intention to enter the league, as well as her training a Magikarp. Ash and Brock then each got a new member to their teams, with Ash getting Oddish and Brock getting Bulbasaur. But that wasn't the only new addition to Ash's team, as he was also able to rescue and take in the formerly abandoned Charmander. This is where the next chapter begins. As the group are finally getting close to Vermilion City, they find themselves falling into a pitfall trap. However, with both Ash and Brock's quick thinking of using Fearow to fly Ash and Misty out of the hole and Bulbasaur to lift Brock out, this is only a minor annoyance, aside from a few bruises. Looking around, they find a group of Squirtle laughing at them. That's right! It's time for the Squirtle Squad! However, since this timeline, Meowth isn't with Team Rocket, things play out quite a bit differently. For a start, with Meowth being there, he's able to, again, act as translator, so the Squirtle Squad's hatred of humans and their reasons are known to the group. And as it is already established that Ash has a soft spot for abandoned and mistreated Pokemon, he wants to try and help. However, before he can even try to talk to them, the Squirtle spot Officer Jenny approaching and take off. Ash is about to start feeling dejected when Misty pulls her bike out of hammer space and tells him to get on. At a speed that Ash didn't even know Misty could go, they race off after the Squirtle. Eventually, they do manage to catch up to the Squirtle, but they're not the only ones. Team Rocket, due to not having Meowth, have no means to trick the Squirtle into doing their dirty deeds, and so must fall back on their old methods and old motives. Rather than trying to manipulate the Squirtle to then later backstab, here, Team Rocket simply want to capture the Squirtle for their boss and possibly get a reward from the town for getting rid of them. Seeing the Squirtle in danger, Ash and Misty immediately leap into action, Ash calling out Fearow and Misty calling out Starmie. While Ash tells Spearow to work on helping get the Squirtle to safety, Misty gets Starmie to run interference, using Water Gun to knock the bombs off course and away from the Pokemon. Just as it looks like Ash, Pikachu, Meowth and Fearow are about to get everyone out of Team Rocket's range, Team Rocket drop more bombs than Starmie can knock away despite its best efforts. The bombs that it missed are all heading straight for the Squirtle leader. Just as it seems that Squirtle is about to be hit with the explosions, Misty, taking a page out of Ash's book, shields it with her body. While the explosions shake the ground around the two and burns Misty's exposed skin, Ash calls out Butterfree to help Starmie knock away the bombs with Gust. Gritting her teeth against the pain, Misty forces herself to her feet with Squirtle in her arms and runs for the cave where Ash and the Squirtle have taken shelter. Once she's there, Ash helps her to sit down before handing a burn heal to Meowth. As Meowth tends to Misty, Ash steps out of the cave and calls on Butterfree to blow the bombs back at Team Rocket, blowing up their balloon and sending them flying. Heading back into the cave, Ash asks Misty if she's okay. She gives him a grateful smile and says that she will be soon thanks to his burn heal. You really do travel prepared, don't you? They are drawn out of the cave by the sound of roaring and the smell of smoke. To their horror, the nearby forest had caught alight due to Team Rocket's bombs. Ash and Misty look at each other, the Squirtle Squad, then back. You thinking what I'm thinking? Misty nods and turns to the Squirtle and her Starmie, telling them that they need to work together in order to put out the fire. With Misty's Starmie, Staryu and the entire Squirtle Squad working together, the fire is out in minutes. Just as they are breathing sighs of relief, Brock arrives with Officer Jenny, who asks what happened. After explaining, Jenny thanks the group for saving the town, and the Squirtle Squad are made the town's firefighters, like in canon. However, since Misty had gotten hurt, the trio decide to stay in town for a few days for her to recover. During this time, Misty is approached by the Squirtle leader who, with Meowth's help, asks Misty if it can be part of her team. Misty happily accepts. As I can't think of any major changes to the Lighthouse episode, I'm just going to skip it. However, a few amusing little differences. Ash catches Krabby technically by accident because he holds out a Pokeball to it while asking if it wants to join him. And he doesn't get upset over Gary having caught more Pokemon, saying that he isn't interested in arbitrarily catching Pokemon for the sake of numbers. That makes Oak laugh. Now back on track. Finally arriving in Vermilion, the group of friends immediately head to the Pokemon Center to rest and recuperate. Soon after arriving, they bear witness to the result of Surge's battles. Seeing this, Ash frowns, calling the former lieutenant cruel. When Misty asks what Ash is talking about, Meowth fills her in, saying that truly skilled trainers can win a battle without causing any major or lasting damage to their opponent, no matter how great the power difference between them is. Ash adds in that Lieutenant Surge, as a gym leader, would most certainly have the level of skill to do this. Also, many of the trainers in the center with their injured Pokemon are young and inexperienced. Conclusion? Surge was beating down on inexperienced trainers simply because he wanted to. He was a bully. And by now I think we all know Ash's stance on bullies. Eyes burning with a determined fire, Ash asks Meowth if he would like to help in taking this gym leader down a peg or two. Meowth grins at his friend and extends his claws. It would be my pleasure. Remind me never to get on your bad sides. You can't get on our bad side, Misty. When they get to the gym, Ash walks in and casually states to the two bouncers that he wants to battle Surge and get the Thunder Badge. When Surge mistakes Misty for his new challenger and goes to hug her, Ash quickly pulls her out of the large man's reach, telling him that an adult should know to respect people's personal space and boundaries. He also tells Surge that he is the one that is going to be battling him right now, but not to worry, as Misty was next in line to serve him some humble pie. When Surge comments about Ash's, Meowth, and Pikachu being baby Pokemon, Ash states that judging others doesn't define who they are, it defines who you are. Surge isn't sure what to make of this, so he asks Ash how many badges he has. To which Ash states that he has one, but he had skipped Cerulean since he had it on good authority that the current gym leaders did not take their job the least bit seriously. This makes Surge curious, but he is still pretty set in his ways, so he would still make his comment about making Pokemon evolve as soon as possible. To which Ash lets out a pained groan, realizing what kind of trainer Surge is. It's an adult Gary. I wish I could say I'm surprised. He then tells Surge that he has no interest in forcing his Pokemon to evolve against their will. His Pokemon will evolve when and only when they are good and ready. If that when is never, then so be it. There's more than one way to win a battle other than brute force. Now, are you going to accept my challenge, or are you going to continue talking my ear off? A little annoyed at the kid's attitude, Surge accepts Ash's challenge, calling on his Raichu. Seeing this, Ash is almost tempted to have Pikachu battle instead, but sticks to his original plan. Leaving Pikachu with his friends, he and Meowth step up to the field. Once the battle starts, Surge immediately orders Raichu to hit Meowth with Thunderbolt, only for Ash to call Meowth to avoid it with Dig. Seconds later, Meowth bursts out of the ground, hitting Raichu for super effective damage. Just as Raichu is turning to throw an attack at Meowth, he nimbly dives away and back underground. Ash smirks and calls over to Surge that, while Raichu is strong, it's slow. All the power in the world means nothing if you can't land a single hit. Frustrated, Surge orders Raichu to use its most powerful Thunderbolt to break up the ground, hoping to drive Meowth out of its hiding spot. The gym shakes as Raichu's attack tears up the ground. When everything is quiet, there's no sign of Meowth. Ash, fearful that his friend has been buried alive by the attack, desperately calls out to him. Seconds pass, until suddenly Meowth bursts out of the ground right under Raichu, landing a critical hit and knocking Raichu out. Relieved to see Meowth in one piece, Ash runs up to him, pulling him into a hug. Meowth laughs, playfully trying to push Ash away, warning him that he's covered in dirt. Surge, now thoroughly humbled, congratulates Ash and Meowth on their victory, presenting them with the Thunder Badge. Ash, still a little bitter over Surge's earlier actions, bluntly asks if this means he's going to stop sending young trainers as Pokemon to the emergency room. Surge sheepishly scratches his head and admits that he had been going too far. With that acknowledgement, Ash turns to Misty and asks if she would like to have her battle now. Misty hesitates, looking around at the destroyed field. Surge, seeing her concern, assures her that this happens all the time, so he had a backup field constructed. With that assurance, Misty requests a battle. This time, Surge says they'll each be using 2 Pokemon since his ace needs a break. Misty agrees and prepares to battle. Due to both Goldeen and Magikarp not being able to fight on land, and knowing from Ash's battle that Surge is not someone to take lightly, Misty decides to bring out Squirtle and Starmie. However, despite both Pokemon giving it their all, she loses within a few attacks. However, thanks to Ash's actions, they are thankfully not in any real danger. Surge kindly tells Misty that she put up a better fight than he'd expecting from someone that only uses water types, but she should try to branch out her types before battling him again. After going back to the center to get Squirtle and Starmie healed up, Ash asks Misty if she wants to stick around and try to take on Surge again, or if she'd rather move on to another gym. Misty says that she wants to stay, as she'd been a little insulted at Scourge's suggestion that she fights with something other than water Pokemon. Water was her specialty! Ash, nodding in understanding, begins to dig around in his bag. When Brock and Misty ask what he's looking for, Ash pulls out a thick deck of cards and tells them that they're National Dex cards. He started collecting them years ago in preparation for his journey, as there are Pokemon that can be found in Kanto that don't show up on the Pokedex because they are so rare. Misty is amazed that he has National Dex cards, as they are extremely rare and hard to find, though Ash laments that he's only completed the Alola and Johto sets. Flipping through his cards, he eventually finds just the Pokemon he was looking for. One that would fit Misty perfectly, and best of all, could be found right there in Vermilion. And that, everyone, is where I'm going to leave the story for now. Join me next time as we see Misty's rematch with Surge and the group set sail aboard the SSN. I'm Rune, see you next chapter.